Lecture: Nose, tobacco, cocaine. From fashion to addiction. A human nose is a very special thing. Our ancestors, like many other creatures, had a snout. We have a long nose on a flat face, and it is something quite peculiar. As the nose is located in the middle of a human face, it's worth considering it as a defensive shield that protects eyes on the one hand. And on the other hand, it can be regarded as a cultural and aesthetic phenomenon. For us, the snout is much more interesting. In the past, this organ was given different interpretations. It had various spiritual and corporal meanings. There is even a science, rhinology, which studies the nose, or rather nasal diseases, although the etymology of this word is very simple. Rhinos, nose, plus logos, word, speech. But let's skip the medical terminology. A nose is often joked about. Lips can be luscious. Eyes can get names of elevated style. Cheeks, eyebrows, all these body parts can be attractive. Only a nose can be funny. There is such a category of people, physiognomists, according to their concept, which we don't share. A nose is an indicator of a person's spiritual life. A perfect nose has a rounded tip and shaped wings. A person with a perfect nose has the spirit of a lion and is notable for courage and passion. Interpretation of a person's character according to the shape of their nose. Short nose, optimism, open-heartedness. Long nose, distinctive personality. A nose tip resembling a hawk's beak, cunning, perceptive. Split nasal tip, shyness. Wide nose wings, doubtfulness. Fleshy nose tip, seriousness and warmth. A nose defines the shape of a person's profile. It can be Grecian, Roman, bulbous, etc. There are many collocations at phraseological units that emphasize the meaning of a nose, so it expresses certain characteristics of a person. Turn-up nose, as plain as the nose on every face. Brown nose, it's no skin of my nose. Poke one's nose into something, rub one's nose in it. Have a good nose, look down one's nose at someone, keep nose clean, etc. A nose is an important olfactory organ. The greatest part of what we attribute to taste actually belongs to smell. If you taste a harsh wine with your nose closed, what remains in your mouth is the smell of vinegar. That's it. A modern person lives in places where natural smells are suppressed. We wear clothes, we bathe, we use perfume, which means that our natural smells are suppressed. Our bodies stink and we struggle with it to lose the sense of our natural odor. We consider the smell to be primitive. Therefore, industry has developed and manufactures a huge number of sweet removers. Cream, deodorant, perfume, soap, etc. Love starts with a smell. In non-verbal communication, our nose holds a vital place. Its ability for facial expression is limited, although there are phases that demonstrate some nasal gestures. I have some pictures here to make it more illustrative. Tobacco nose. And so, snuff tobacco. A specially prepared powder made of tobacco leaves. It was highly popular in the 16th century after a French envoy to the Portuguese court presented dried tobacco leaves to the French queen, Catherine de' Medici. he recommended that she inhale their scent whenever she had a headache. There is an opinion that the trend of sniffing tobacco was expanded by the British Queen Victoria and her husband in the 19th century. There was a widespread belief that snuff is a curable solution for many conditions, that it improves eyesight, cures a runny nose, and stimulates mental activity. However, it's quite the opposite. In fact, snuffing tobacco ruins a person's health, and in a serious way. The esophagus, the stomach, and the intestines are all affected. It's a dangerous habit to snuff. But so what? This is a peculiar way of behavior, a way of life of certain social classes in the 18th and 19th centuries. One example is Russia. The lifestyle of the early 19th century. Getting up late, spending 2.5 hours at the mirror, or even more, polishing the nails, doing the hair, drinking coffee and tea, and then taking a walk. Then lunchtime, almost dinner, then theater, a ball, and going home after 2 a.m. How cool is that? There is also time for snuffing tobacco. It's a habit just like smoking a pipe and drinking a shot of cognac after a delicious afternoon meal. Snuffing tobacco is simply a form of behavior in the high society. It belongs to the realm of fashion. Fashion is a social game of the high and the low, of innovation and imitation. It is the desire to express belonging to a particular social group. When snuffing tobacco reached pretty low classes, in the middle of the 19th century, even petty officials were snuffing, and the time for this habit was up. In 19th century literature, snuff is most often associated with everyday customs and conversations. Sniffing expresses a kind of communication and sometimes also denotes a state of doing nothing. A hero who is idling around usually takes a snuff. This is one of the stylized ways to express peculiar boredom. There is no any doubt that fashion has an important cultural significance in every historical period. It is not only the clothing in whole that matters, but also certain details. Jewelry, court sword, buttons, necktie, top hat, snuff box. Each period defines its fashion details. A tie for dandies, shoes on high or low heels, the color of the tailcoat, a hand fan, a monocle, or glasses, high or low top hats, etc. An integral part of the fashion of the time was a snuff box. It confirmed a person's social status. A snuff box is a box for storing snuff and for decorating the ritual of snuffing itself. This admirable little thing was often exhibited in the public eye. It was usually made of precious metals, gold with diamonds and other precious gems, silver, ivory, or porcelain. In Russia, porcelain snuff boxes were made at the Imperial Porcelain Manufactory. I'll give you an example from Goncharov's novel Oblomov, how one knyaz decorated himself. Knyaz, a grey-haired old man with 3 stars, with a gold snuff box and with a cane wearing velvet boots. A gold snuff box undoubtedly represents the symbol of a highly positioned person. Not everyone could be proud of having one. This phenomenon can cause admiration and envy of others. People wear jewelry for themselves in a way that they wear it for others. That's a very good point. If everyone wore the same piece of jewelry, it wouldn't mark an individual out. When the fashion of snuffing faded in the high society, this amusement passed to the lower social classes, and then it disappeared altogether. Along with it, the need for fabricating such exquisite items, which are now collectibles, also passed. Cocaine knows humankind never stops at just one thing, and the itch for thrills is unchanging. The higher the social status, the greater the desire to test oneself. The demonism of mass culture is explained by the fact that all human feelings are reduced to satisfying momentary passions. A kind of culture of consumption is being created, which includes the fashion for drug use. For the 20th century, as well as for the 21st century, drugs are becoming a kind of mass media. Of course, they're prohibited, however, still remaining fashionable and attractive. Thus, for the new social class, for new young users, cocaine is typical. Snorting cocaine is a thrill, it's showing off. Mafia and thrills are inseparable. Where there is mafia, there is cocaine. There is love with interest. The theme of cocaine is intriguingly presented in the novel Romance with Cocaine by the Russian emigre writer Mikhail Ageev. This is a crash course for users. How people sell and buy it, use without rules. But in the end, they still die. The hero of the novel, Vadim, drank cocaine diluted with water and died. The heroine of the iconic movie Pulp Fiction breaks the rules and makes the tragic mistake of snorting heroin instead of cocaine. How fortunately it ended this time, you definitely know. And you also know what happens to her later. Cocaine, on the one hand, is prohibited, but on the other hand, it is associated with fashion, popular culture, and show business. A line from a song by Eric Clapton, Cocaine. If your thing is gone and you wear the right on, cocaine. Don't forget this fact, you can get it back, cocaine. She don't lie, she don't lie, she don't lie, cocaine. A nose connects the old, tobacco, and the new, cocaine. But let both tobacco and cocaine remain in literature, movies and songs. It is so much better not to deal with them in real life. Of course, tastes differ, but it is not my cup of tea. Thank you for your attention.